Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and you know what, there are some developers out there who like to sneak a cheeky cameo in every once in a while, a little self-insert or sometimes ego-massaging power trip if it goes a bit too far, but these people right here, well they wanted to throw down. So let's kick their digital dicks in as I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 times that video games let you fight the developers. Number 7, Ultra Pride, The Binding of Isaac. They say that pride comes before a fall, and I think it's safe to say that we all fell pretty hard for The Binding of Isaac when it dropped in 2011. It was clear that Edmund Macmillan and Florian Himser were a creative team to be reckoned with, as the title dropped with so much passion that it made some of the carpet go soggy. Around the same time, the pair agreed to take part in a documentary called Indie Game The Movie, which detailed the trials and many tribulations the pair went through to get Super Meat Boy to market. And while it was clear that the pair loved what they were doing, it was also abundant that their excessive work cycle and perfectionist attitudes were also becoming a detriment to their mental and physical well-beings. The pair have gone on record to state that pride was indeed their true sin in the creative process, and that they would be unable to move on from issues that arose in development until they were sorted, leading to delays and more late nights. Therefore, as a sort of homage to their own pain, Macmillan placed a mini-boss into one of the DLCs for The Binding of Isaac called Ultra Pride, which is based on their own suffering. Macmillan is the larger body and Florian is the floating wisp that battles with him. It's almost like witnessing an exorcism take place when battling the pair, which can spawn randomly in place of the regular Pride mini-boss, as it's their worst qualities and fears given life for the player to do away with. Further adding to the battle, if you kill Macmillan before Florian, there's a 50% chance that it will drop the left-hand item, a reference to the creator's left-handed writing preference. Number 6, the icon of sin / John Romero, Doom 2. In what is at once one of the weirdest Easter eggs in gaming history and also one of the coolest, you can indeed smash the face of John Romero, the co-lead designer of the original Doom titles, in Doom 2. However, for many players, they wouldn't even realize they're doing it. The Icon of Sin is the final boss in this almighty sequel to the monolithic first Doom game, a towering and imposing skull that summons in demons to do away with the Doomslayer however it can. And in order to send this bone boy packing, players had to ride an elevator up and shoot just at the right spot to blast apart its brain. However, some cheeky little pups decided to take a look around the place looking for secrets and uncovered that if you use the cheat ID clip, you can phase right through the boss and uncover a startling secret. You see, the boss was merely a facade, and what the player is actually hitting in order to deal damage to the Icon of Sin is John Romero's head on a spike. The boss's audio even holds a clue to this truth, as if you play it in reverse, it states, "To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero." Brilliant, right? Number 5, El Oscuro / Tom Hall, Rise of the Triad. So the original Rise of the Triad game is something that one could immediately mistake for being just a bit of cut content from a Doom game. Such was its utter aping of the game's art style, movement, and overall game design. But for those who actually played this title, this is a silly and self-aware slice of gaming joy that manages to elevate itself from the copy-paste muck of so many others thanks to its over-the-top weapons and utterly insane final boss. El Oscuro is the leader of a mysterious cult that plans to destroy all of Los Angeles before taking over the world, which according to my statistics makes it the 1000th evil cult in video games not to be trusted. Your team is tasked with taking down this mad monk however you can, and across your journey you'll use all manner of weapons to beat back his followers, including my personal favourite, a baseball bat that fires waves of explosive baseballs, and it's here that you have to realise that Rise of the Triad doesn't take itself too seriously. The boss battle with El Oscuro is a tense one as he morphs into different forms, one of which is a giant floating head that screams towards you at speed. However, if you're to pause the action for a second, you'll realise that this face is actually that of the game's designer, Tom Hall, meaning that you get to bash in his face and thwart evil at the same time. Huzzah! Number 4, Edgar Wright, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. Now, to be clear, I know that Edgar Wright didn't have a hand in developing the outstanding Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, but come on, I feel duty-bound to talk about this game whenever I get the opportunity. It is genuinely that good. Plus, it finally got a re-release, meaning that we can now once more complete this beautiful slice of arcade brawling action complete with one of the best soundtracks out there. Okay, enough praising, let's get to punching. On the second stage, in which Scott has to take on movie star and all-around cool guy Lucas Lee, you'll fight your way across a film set in order to have a Tinseltown showdown at the end of things. However, along the way, a pesky little sprite appears to snap a clapperboard and then dashes off as waves of enemies flood the screen to bash your teeth in. This cheeky whippet is modelled after none other than Edgar Wright, who gifted the world one of the most entertaining and faithful text-to-movie adaptations going, aside from the ending that is, but you know what, cut him some slack. Without the talents of Wright, many of us wouldn't even know about Scott Pilgrim, and while we can't beat the tar out of his little cameo, his efforts sure do mean that we've got a fight on our hands before getting to Lee. Number 3, Twisted Pixels, Comic Jumper. The development team at Twisted Pixels are an interesting bunch, to say the least. The sheer creative force of this group is enough to wipe the floor with most larger teams, and seeing as their back catalogue contains the likes of the Gunstringer, Splosion Man, Miss Splosion Man, and the more, it's clear that they know how to do raucous, over-the-top fun better than anyone. Enter Comic Jumper, the adventures of Captain Smiley, which might well be one of the most meta and fourth-wall shattering titles on the market. Here you play as a down-and-out comic book hero looking for new work after his own line of comics has failed. Luckily for you, Twisted Pixels themselves is on hand to help out by arranging for Captain Smiley to earn some dollar by appearing as a guest in other comic lines. This sees you jump through numerous art styles and storytelling tropes as you battle to make bank, yet all the while something seems a little off. Twisted Pixels make sure to throw every challenge they can at you, and upon reaching the end and seeing that they've taken all of the cash and left Smiley with nothing, you realise that you've been battling against them the entire time. Twisted Pixels were the real villains. Shock, gasp, kazow, etc. It's a brilliantly hilarious moment, made all the funnier by the ridiculous jabs the developer makes at Smiley throughout his journey. Top stuff. Number 2, EDGAR. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. To anyone who laughed at Koji Igarashi's swanning about an abandoned castle and sipping wine like it was his entire life essence in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night's Kickstarter trailers, then my friend, you clearly do not know of this man's legacy and his big brassy balls. This was the visionary that brought us Castlevania Symphony of the Night, widely agreed to be one of the best games in the Vania franchise and also one of the most well-crafted video game experiences just in general. So if anyone ever has the right to swagger around and sip and slurp wine, it's this guy. It was clear from the off that Bloodstained was going to be a passion project through and through, with Igarashi flying in the faces of publishers who said that his style of game just wouldn't track well with modern audiences. And so each and every decision made for this title felt like it was for himself and the fans equally. He even overhauled the game's graphical engine to address complaints, and that is no small feat, my friends. Luckily, when the game finally dropped, it was met with critical and commercial success, leading to even more support for the title in the form of DLC packs, and one of these, titled the EDGAR's Backpack, even featured the developer as a boss battle, or as would be better described, the ultimate boss of the game, as this guy can knock the piss out of you in seconds. This was a true test of skill for the most hardcore of fans, and one can't help but sport a wide-fanged smile at how brilliant this moment was, player and developer fighting to the death once and for all. And number 1, Yosuke Matsuda and Kenichi Sato, NIER Automata. I think it's a pretty common feeling to have looked over some of the shady video game practices committed by big publishers like EA and Activision and just squeeze your controller to the point of breaking it with thoughts of battering these louts into the ground like fleshy tent pegs. But very rarely will any of these CEOs offer up their chops for the actual real-life slapping. Square Enix, though, well, they never seem to get the message, as the one and only Yosuke Matsuda inserted himself as a secret boss battle in the outstanding NIER Automata Potato Patata for players to enact their own interpretation of a very hostile takeover. The fact that this even exists blows my tiny mind, as did the hilarious lines of dialogue before you fight him, in which an NPC states that by fighting him will break the immersion of the game, to which you respond with immersion schmersion. Making things even better is the fact that the actual battle is true and blue NIER Automata madness, featuring Matsuda firing out images of a meal from his mind, and is then joined by the CEO of Platinum Games to double down on this punishment. And for your hard-earned victory, you even get to wear masks of their faces. This game is something else entirely. And there we go, my friends. Those were 7 video games that let you fight the developers. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice. It's where I do all of my streaming outside of work. About to work my way through the Banner saga at the moment, so I hope to see you over there, my friends. As always, I hope that you are having a fantastic day, whatever you get up to, my friends. Treat yourself with love and respect, because you bloody well deserve it, okay? Now go out there and absolutely smash your life goals, my friend. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.